Hey Hebrew fans, this is Todd. So today I had a question come in, and the question was, with this cool little vehicle right here, does it work with the world's smallest action figures in the world? So let me do a quick synopsis. So we got these cool Masters of the Universe figures, Matchbox cars, or Hot Wheel cars like this. Oh, yeah, I'm all over the place. And so the question is, do these work well with the smallest figures in the world? Now, they did make a special version that did include little figurines in them, but I didn't get them. But, so, let me jump back. Jump back, man. A long time ago, they made a comic that came with a record that you could get that came with, I think, Point Dread or something. And in that comic, they had Skeletor. And Skeletor had this little table that he used. And in the table, he had Castle Grayskull and some trees and Battle Cat and everything else. And he used this table to plot out his plan of how he was going to trick He-Man and take over Castle Grayskull. And you can see he's got the little figurines, he has his little table, and it's got dirt and everything else, and even the water, and there's Beastman taking, orders from him about how this is all going to work. And I just always kind of like that idea of having that kind of war table, if you will, for strategizing how you're going to set up your battle. Now, granted, it's only a few frames long in the comic, and it's only in this one comic that he has it, which is kind of funny. You think like it should show us more often. And so I decided when I saw these figures that was the world's smallest figures, and then we got these cool castle pieces a long time ago that came with figurines inside of it, just to mix it all together. So I went and I put two Castle Grayskulls together. Knocking people over. And then I used three Castle Grayskulls. I didn't realize I did that. So basically we have one front and then three side walls all the way around to make our square castle. Now, when you take and you would fold this up, this chunk right here, when you fold it up, it looks, well, it's got to line it up. When you fold it up, it actually is the full circle of the castle. But in the toy, they didn't have that. When you opened it up, this was hollowed out. So I took a Dremel tool, I hollowed this out, hollowed out the windows and everything else that was supposed to be hollowed out instead of solid. So the other two I just left alone the way they were. And then I took the original mat and made a small version of it that didn't come with anything back then, but now it comes with the newer castle. And I know it was made for the triangle shape. You can tell right here when you put the two halves on. But we know the castle was never supposed to be triangle shaped. I don't know why they drew it that way. But then you just set this here, chink, and then you have your tabletop makeshift Castle Grayskull. Now, these here are the world's smallest action figures, according to what they call them. They really aren't, but that's just what their advertising or their marketing is. And they are pretty close in scale with these pieces here. So you could take a figure and you could take off his base, and you could stick him on this battle ram to a point. Now these articulation on these figures, the legs don't move at all, so you can't put him in a seating position, but you can kind of shove it on there. Now if you put him on the whole entire piece, like this one here, it doesn't quite fit as well. It's okay, but it's not spectacular, but it does work for what you need. Now, that's all great and good for the battle ram, but when it comes to the Wind Raider, there's a small little area for legs to fit, but since the legs don't bend, when you go to take your figure, come here, He-Man, and you try to shove him in there, he's not going in there. So if you want him to fit in there, you're going to have to break the legs, bend them, and cut them off right here, and then have one He-Man figure just always in the Wind Raider that could be removable. Because you're not going to fit this guy in there. Again, his legs don't bend. They are just one solid piece. Does his waist even turn? I can't tell. I'm afraid to turn if it's stuck with paint or not. You know, they might move a little bit. They do feel like... I'm just so afraid to try to move them and see them just snap on me. Yeah, I don't think they move. They're just bending because it's plastic. So, scale-wise, yes, they're the right scale. But as far as actually putting them inside the machine, no. You can't actually put it in there. But it is cool to have them stand next to it. Or if you want to get extra of these and cut them up and stick them in there. Personally, I would just heat them up really hot. I'd bend the legs. I'd see if they fit. If not, I'd cut off what I need to make it fit. And then just have a special seated He-Man that you just pull out of the box when you want to use him. And then he fits fine in here. Let's see if he fits on the Beast. Yeah, so you can't even sit him on... You can't even put him on his own Battle Cat that came with the set. His legs don't separate far enough to sit on Battle Cat. You could probably shove him on there and have the legs stretch. I'm not going to risk having the legs break, though. I don't think these figures were ever meant to be opened. I really believe these itty-bitty figures were meant to stay in the box as a collector thing and not made to be used. Their articulation is very limited, and what articulation is, it's like really, really flimsy. And so the odds of them breaking are like super high. The weapons barely fit in the hands either. Like, you can't really put his shield in his hand too well. And these little bases, they're so easy to lose. And they didn't make very many. It would have been cool if they would have made my top 11 or at least more. But you can just feel that these will break so easy with any kind of effort. So, I need like little tweezers to really put this stuff in. I even have a hard time even just seeing the parts, even with my glasses on. But as far as a diorama for Skeletor to use for his plans, I mean, it's pretty cool. Now, I did buy a bunch of extra battle rams just so I could pull off the fronts to use them. So you could put other figures on there. But they only didn't make very many figures. I think they made a Faker too. I'm not sure. I didn't get him though because I'm not really a big fan of Faker to begin with. But as far as a cool little display to show Skeletor setting up his battle plans and showing the others, it's kind of fun. I usually put these by the table on the bottom because that's what you would do. You would take and put your bigger pieces under the table or in front of them and pull them up if you need to. So, kind of a fun little thing. And of course you can show them storming the castle. Now, I have thought about making it so the door actually works, and I have seen people do that, and I've seen people add inside pieces too with floors and everything. I didn't go that far on it. I didn't even paint it or give it a black wash. And I could have done that too. But basically, it's just little dremeling just to make it kind of work. And that's about it. Look, Eva Lynn is getting a little close to Trapjaw there. Let's just stand her back up. Alright. And in case you didn't know, for those of you who don't know my top 11, these are my top 6 baddies. Yes, these are Hebro's favorite 6 bad guys right there. And then I have 5 of my heroes that I like. So there they are. Beastman, Triclops, Merman, Trapjaw, Evelyn, and Skeletor. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, look at this. I forgot I had this still sitting out. Oh, the Battle Ram. I used to love this artwork. I'd stare at this picture right here for hours and just imagine the Beastman with the battle axe and everything else and just how cool it was. Oh well, I'll put that back. Like a Castle Grayskull in the background there. Bum, 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 bum. So cool. And you got some random guy we never seen before. Yes. Yes. Alright, let me stick that back. Alright, so the original question was, does the world's smallest action figures fit in the Wind Raider? And the answer is, as they are, no. Are they to scale? Yes. Can you make it work? If you feel like cutting a figure up, it will work. So that is my answer to your question. All right. For the rest of you, thanks for joining me. And let me know what you think of my cool little tabletop strategy table. Strategic table for Skeletor. Now, I know on his, he had like cool little hills and everything else, but that's a lot of effort to make something that big. And this does fit inside my Snake Mountain as well from the Super 7. So it's kind of fun. I'll put it on the bottom as a strategy table to show everybody. All right. Until next time, like they say in the 1987 movie. Zoop, zoop. Oh, you lost something. I understand. Zoop. Wow, it's hard to focus. Good journey! Bye now.
If you found enjoyment, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Do it!